When I was younger, my brother and I used to get into some pretty crazy fights, as brothers do. He's only 18 months younger than me. And I remember clear as day one time, we were fighting over a Spider-Man web slinger. It was my birthday present and he wanted it. But I was like, no, it's not yours, Noel. So we started getting into a fight. He actually grabbed it off me, threw it at my head, and it cut my eyebrow open. And I remember crying pretty crazy, and then having to go to the hospital and get stitches. But then I realized the next day at school, having stitches in my eyes, a lot of my friends were looking at me like, what happened? And, you know, being like any kid trying to be cool, I told kids that I got into a fight. Cut my eyebrow open, and they all started believing me until my brother then got wind of it in the playground and then told them that he chucked a web slinger at my head. The funny thing about that is I ended up turning that little cut into something that was awesome for a second in my life. In Luke 24:36, it's the story where Jesus pretty much goes to the disciples like, it's me. Like, look, it's my wounds. You know what I mean? It's really me. And that verse, when reading it, resounded with me because I loved how Jesus ended up turning these scars, these wounds in his life into proof that it was him. You know, with that story with my brother, what I was doing was turning them wounds into something that was good for me. And I just guess I want to encourage people that, you know, there are not just physical wounds, but spiritual wounds, mental health wounds, that anyone can turn their wounds into their weapons. I know in my life, there are things that I've gone through in my life with my family when it comes to drugs and alcohol and domestic violence that I ended up turning them wounds into my weapons. And that's the one thing that I want to get across today is in your life, what you're going through, as hard as it is, there is a point where you can turn them wounds into your weapons. Just as Jesus literally went, look, it's me. Look at these wounds. But I want to give you 3 takeaways when it comes to turning your wounds into your weapons. The first one is sometimes you have to take your time and let them wounds heal. You know, if it's speaking to a psychologist or speaking to a counselor, speaking to a mentor, taking your time to let them wounds heal. And that's the thing, people try and speed that process up. And you know that saying, just jump back up on the horse. You know, sometimes you need to take your time to get back on that horse. Sometimes you need to do that journey, you're on that walk with that person, and they're going to give you a chair to get back on that horse. But you got to let them wounds heal properly. Because the problem is if you don't let them wounds heal, they get infected. And then you start the process all over again. The second takeaway I guess I want to say to you guys is let them wounds be a part of your story. Don't hide them wounds. Be proud of them wounds. I know there's some people that might be watching this thinking, but them physical wounds that I have, people judge me over them. But them wounds are a part of your story. Them wounds might help other people get through their problems. So let your wounds be a part of your story. And the third thing for me is let the wounds point others to Jesus. That's what I've done in my life. My life of going through domestic violence and seeing my parents as drug addicts, you know, actually finally letting people know that, hey, yes, I went through that, but pointing them to Jesus. Once again, 3 things. Let them wounds heal. Let them wounds be a part of your story. And let them wounds point people to Jesus.